Hi there, my name is Greg Bloom, and I am the instigator and lead organizer of the Open Referral Initiative. So, the story of Open Referral actually begins about 6 or 7 years ago. I worked for an organization called Bread for the City in Washington, D.C., which provides many different kinds of services to poor D.C. residents: food and clothing, and medical care, and legal counsel, and more. Our social workers also built their own resource directory database, which they use to keep track of the other services like mental health counseling and digital literacy programs and so on, to which they would refer their clients. My job was communications, and this officially meant marketing and fundraising. But unofficially, I took it to mean that I helped people share important information with each other. And over time, I realized that we were regarded by many of our clients to be the best source of this information about which organizations provided what services to whom. It wasn't easy to find this stuff on the internet. There wasn't any one source of information that was known to be reliable. Instead, it was more like there were many sources that were known to be unreliable. So people would come to us just to figure out where else they needed to go. And in fact, other organizations would ask us for our data. They wanted to build their own resource directory, or organize a community health research project, or an advocacy campaign. So over the years, I convened dialogues and organized hackathons and did some research on the history of this problem. And through this, I learned three lessons. First, the root reason why it's so hard to keep track of who does what for whom is that organizations who provide services to people who don't pay them for those services don't have strong incentives to be found by more people. They're already overwhelmed and under-resourced. They may not be compensated enough per client to cover their costs, if they're compensated per client at all. And you might consider this a design flaw in the social safety net. What it means is that the best way to reliably ensure that you have accurate information about what an organization does is by actually just calling them up and asking them. The second thing I learned is that there's actually more than enough energy and resources in any given community being thrown at precisely that: calling up organizations and asking about what they do. But all of that effort is being done in redundant and competitive silos. Community resource manuals, nonprofit referral providers, and increasingly social entrepreneurs building for-profit web applications trying to be the Yelp or Uber of social services. They're all collecting duplicative data in isolation from each other. The third lesson that we learned through this process is centralized one-stop shop solutions tend to fail. They fail for political reasons and they fail for technical reasons. The bottom line is that the service sectors are fundamentally decentralized, and the particular needs of all stakeholders can't be met by one monolithic system. So over time, we envisioned another way to solve this problem. Rather than trying to get everybody to use one centralized system, we could enable the federation of systems. If all these systems could talk to each other, speaking the same language, then the same data could be shared across an ecosystem of different tools appropriate for different particular contexts. This concept of distributed interoperability is what enabled the web to become a global phenomenon. So this is why we launched Open Referral, to work towards a world in which there are all kinds of effective ways by which people can find and use information about the resources in their community. In 2014, we formed a community of practice. We brought together hundreds of participants from different parts of these complex systems around the country and around the world. Together, we conducted participatory research to craft a shared understanding of the needs of users in this domain. In 2015, we introduced version 1.0 of the Human Services Data Specification, which is a machine-readable language that any information system can use to exchange resource directory data on the web. And now we have as many as 10 different communities and sectors in which organizations are publishing their data in this format. So where do we go from here? Our third objective is to demonstrate that there are viable institutional models that can sustain the production of resource data as a public good. Right now, our early adopters have opened up their databases because they believe it's the right thing to do, but in the years ahead, we will have to help them confirm that it's a viable thing to do. And beyond business models for individual organizations, we need to enable the federation of networks in which many nodes can cooperate in the production of this knowledge. This will require some technical tools like a version control system for resource directories, and also some new institutional models like how the Associated Press once provided a cooperative solution to the challenge of local dissemination of global news. We need time for trial and error and research and development. But when we succeed, I believe we will have effectively restructured our entire safety net, making it easier for people to navigate as they seek help in meeting their needs, and also easier for people to analyze, evaluate, and improve those systems over time. Thank you for listening to this story, and I am excited about what we will accomplish together.